al 1 de Mayo.
Hello and welcome to the Cindy Podcast. I am your host, Cindy May Jr. Follow me on the Elon app at The Cindy, that's TheeSamd. Podcast is also up there at The Cindy Podcast, all one word. If you no longer down with the Elon app, trust me, I get it. Podcast is also up on the Zuckerberg app and the China app. Subscribe to the podcast, 5 stars nonetheless, tell a friend. The home for all content, audio, and visual is thesamd.com. Hit up the YouTube page. Views are growing, subscribers are growing. Appreciate the feedback on the content. I put a lot of work into it, so I appreciate those on the audio side wanting to check out the video, and the video side wanting to check out the audio. But YouTube is the place where we're really trying to grow and really push the movement over there. So link for the subscribe and all that good stuff is over there. Hit the bell and all that. Turn on notifications to know when videos drop, live streams, pop off, stuff like that. Musical production done by May 1st Music. Support him at soundcloud.com/May1stmusic. Did we witness the end of an era last night? We have seen Steph Curry miss the plane. We have seen Kevin Durant get swept. And now we have seen y'all king LeBron James get bounced out by the Denver Nuggets in 5 games. The Denver Nuggets take care of business. Jamal Murray with yet another game winner. And we should probably just jump right into that. We're going to try to do these pods quick and fast. Jamal Murray goes for the win. If we go back here to the start, won't play the audio because we don't want that smoke. But if you navigate what the play here is, remember game 2, the last episode that I dropped that was solely about the NBA playoffs. Murray, Jokic, pick and roll. They switched. Anthony Davis was switched on to Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray went right, hit a fadeaway, and got the dagger. Now, same situation. It is 106, about 13 seconds left on the clock. And here we go again. Murray, Jokic, pick and roll. What exactly happened? So we get the pick and roll here engaged. It is Austin Reeves now. And because before it was LeBron guarding Jokic and AD was kind of hovering. No, excuse me, other way around. It was Bron guarding Jamal Murray. And then AD was on Jokic and they did the switch. Now we have it where Austin Reeves is initially guarding Jamal Murray, and we have AD on Jokic. They know the screen is coming. LeBron down here at the screen is already pointing it out. We got LeBron and Taurean Prince kind of trying to direct traffic here as they know what the play is. It's going to be Murray. He's going to take the shot. And at the end of it, if it at worst case scenario, they go to overtime, right? So we got Murray here. He drags it out as far as he can to make the pick and roll that much more effective. We have the 3 Nuggets players here in the corner, bottom right, bottom left of the screen. And now we have Murray. Jokic comes up, sets the screen. Decent screen, but more of a flare screen. Reeves goes over. Okay, Reeves goes over. There's no communication as to whether to switch or not. It gives a lot of room here for Murray to operate. This is a lot of room. He could literally go all the way to the cup, but he's got LeBron there, even though he already yammed on LeBron earlier in the game. But he's got a lot of options here. He could continue to drive. He could dump this off to Jokic, or he can get to his spot here by the left elbow and pull. What does he do? He gets to just below the left elbow, hangs in the air, pulls. Reeves trying to recover from the screen because AD did not switch. He just kind of hovered. He didn't hedge. He didn't ice. He didn't do any of that. He just kind of hovered. Murray gets to his spot, hangs in the air, hits yet another dagger, his second of this series, to get the Lakers up out of here into Galveston, Cancun, wherever you want to put them, right? But here's the interesting play. Here's the interesting play within the play. The Lakers were trying to get prepared for their screen and roll. And remember that gap I talked about in the left elbow? That was not supposed to be there. The Lakers knew that this could be a potential issue, and they had communication to stop that space from being so wide ass open. Let's go here. You see Rui Hachimura. He's pointing to that empty space, right? Because he sees Jokic maybe trying to do a backdoor cut or whatever. He's trying to be alert. That doesn't happen. Jokic spins off, and now he wants to go set the real part of the play, which is the pick. So now the pick comes. Taurean Prince is pointing at Rui, and also Rui is pointing up top. What he's trying to tell Taurean, I don't know. But Taurean is trying to tell Rui here, hey, if Murray comes off, you got to step up to cut off that lane. You step up to cut off that lane so he can't do what he's going to do in about 4 seconds. So Taurean Prince is trying to tell Rui Hachimura, you slide over, take up this gap now, because AD's not going to switch. I think the play, whether that's Darvin Ham or the players coaching themselves, which is something that Shams dropped that bomb as soon as the game was over, seemingly. The players figured out that, all right, we're not going to switch on this. Reeves go over, AD stick with Jokic, maybe hover, force Jamal Murray to make his mind up. And then once he makes his mind up, you fall back to Jokic. But because you have someone also here at the point of attack, which should be Rui Hachimura, then you're limiting Murray's chances or his options, right? So they're both pointing. Prince is telling him, yo, go to that spot. I'll pick up your mans, which is KCP. Then by that metric, LeBron should then rotate over to Michael Porter, which would then leave something open for Aaron Gordon. But remember, it's 7 seconds left. So for all of that to happen, it's very slim for all of that to happen to where Murray can see all that action and make the right play. So you do this to force the action, to limit Jamal Murray's actions, right? Taurean Prince pushes Rui to the spot. Rui still doesn't react. He kind of does the Olay thing of acting like he's going to go there, but he's not, because maybe he's so scared of KCP on a catch and shoot three that he doesn't want to leave his responsibility. But Taurean Prince is literally shoving you to the spot, telling you go close that lane, because there's Murray about to attack and he doesn't do it. And it allows Murray to get to his spot. Rui, half-heartedly tries to put his arms up, but he's nowhere near the ball. Austin Reeves has to come flying off the screen, trying to recover, trying to chase, trying not to run up the back, no diddy, and foul Jamal Murray in the process. And now, Murray gets off a clean shot, a good shot, and it's wet. So, look, a lot is going to be made about Darvin Ham. A lot is going to be made about the effort. There's viral videos of dudes doing breakdowns already of just the lack of effort, the lack of communication, the lack of IQ. Again, this is the one where, LeBron is running around doing pods with JJ Redick, acting like he's the most smartest basketball player ever. And yet in that YouTuber's breakdown, he's got vids of showing LeBron making mistakes, of LeBron lazy on effort, of LeBron not making the right IQ decision. Yet Bron gets to run around acting like he's doing the Hoopers pod with JJ Redick. So the Lakers are up out of here, right? Jamal Murray dagger 108 to 106, the final. And already, your man's Wendy, Brian Windhurst, quote, I think LeBron opts out of his contract and becomes a free agent for the first time since 2018. Do I believe it? It's hard to understand. It's hard to know what LeBron is going to do. Everything is cloaked. Everything is, smoke screens. Everything is using the weaponizing the media. I'm sure there'll be some Nick tape photoshops of Bron. I've already seen KD in Lakers gear. So it's already going to be a thing, right? So we'll move past that, but it is a thing. LeBron intends to opt out. Again, applying pressure to the Lakers. Also, Bronny has not chosen a school yet, draft eligible. Again, the Lakers actually have a first round pick. They might be forced and coerced into taking that with Bronny, not a Shabazz Napier type deal, but even more so in getting Bronny up in there to keep LeBron. So LeBron had some moments in this game. He punked this lady. Won't play the audio because the audio is not that great, but in essence, he's fighting for a board. He gets called for a foul, guarding Jokic, trying to box out Jokic. Not a great job boxing out Jokic. And the fans of Denver are giving it to him. These refs are fucking horrible. They are fucking horrible. This woman does the crybaby thing right in front of LeBron. You see that here. She's got some of that Kirk Cousins jewelry on. She's got that Party City jewelry on, a bootleg Cuban. She does that, and LeBron flexes on her, and the woman jumps because, low-key, she's a Karen. I mean, you jump like that. That shows you weren't built for this. Front row, you thought you could get that off. You're a crybaby. You're a crybaby. But he had already flexed and got on her. Meanwhile, her mans is here. I'm assuming this is the dude that brought her. He's got to deal with this. He's got to sit next to a woman that has, I'm assuming, a Nuggets Party City necklace on. That's who gets to sit front row at these games, especially in spots like Denver. And LeBron, this might be his lasting image. This might be the last positive image of LeBron in a Laker fan, in a Laker jersey. I doubt it, but this might truly be that. Him mocking the fan. But anyway, we slide off. LeBron was asked in the postgame, make sure we got the sound on for this one. LeBron asked if this indeed was his last game as a Laker.
Tonight, was there any thought at all that, this could have been your last game with the Lakers?
I'm not going to answer that. Appreciate it.
That's that. Not going to answer it because he's not trying to tip his hand. Him and Rich Paul have, I'm sure, discussed this many a times in terms of, if we get bounced up out of here first round, what's the game plan? What's the move? How are we going to spend this? How are we going to sell this? So the Lakers have a lot of stuff to do. You would assume that was D'Angelo Russell's last game as a Laker. You would also assume that there's a lot of expiring contracts on this roster, and there will be, by the skinniest of hairs, enough for a third max. We'll see who that third max goes to if they indeed decide to go with a big three. But again, as I talked about on the last NBA episode, you're talking about a big three in the era where now you need a big four. Can they create a big four? Because that's truly the answer here. If you're going to go up against the likes of the Nuggets, if you're going to go up against the likes of the Timberwolves, if you're going to go up against the likes of the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's what you have to create. A big four. Clearly a big two. As much as we could talk about how much the Lakers, if things broke the right way, you can certainly paint the case where they would have eliminated the Nuggets. But at the end of the day, they had Jamal Murray and the other team didn't. At the end of the day, the other team had Nikola Jokic and the other team didn't. Despite Bron being Bron and AD being AD, when you add in that Michael Porter Jr. was a bucket this entire series, and then Aaron Gordon had that big game 3 and was pretty good throughout the rest of the other games, that was enough to get them over the hump. We'll do a quick dive into some of the stats here. Bron with a 30-piece. AD, not the greatest game. Didn't get the ball enough. Didn't get enough shots up, in my opinion. 17 and 15. So very efficient, 8 of 11. So when you're trying to look at series numbers, if they have that ready, do they have that? Yes, series summary. Let's go ahead into series summary. Jokic in this series averaged 28, 16, and 10. 28, 16, and 10. And that's with good defense by Anthony Davis and LeBron. And when he wanted to pay attention, Rui Hachimura. Jamal Murray, 24, 5, and 7. 7 dimes for someone I have been saying is the third best point guard. Still getting a lot of flack for that. Still remember all the slander for that. But Jamal Murray continuously goes out here 24 and 7 with 5 boards on top of it. And he didn't even shoot that great. Only shot 40%. 29% from 3. But clutch buckets, Jamal Murray 2, LeBron 0. And then Michael Porter, like I said, 23 points, 8 boards. He shot 49% from 3, 55% overall, absolute bucket. And then Aaron Gordon, 14 and 10, doing the dirty work, but he had the big game 3 where I think he put up, 29? So, I mean, you're not going to be able to stop this with just 2 dudes. You cannot stop this in 2 dudes. Nikola Jokic had the lowest defensive rating on the team, which means he had the best defensive rating for the entire team. And oh, by the way, he had the highest offensive rating for the entire team. I mean, there's not much you could do there. You want to go into the Lake Show? AD, 28 and 16. And he's out of there in 5 games. 28 and 16, and he's out of there in 5 games. Your man's Bron, 28, 7, and 9. 39% from 3. 57% overall. But still up out of there in 5 games. So let's go to defensive rating. Nikola Jokic had a better defensive rating over 5 games than LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Nikola Jokic over 5 games had a better offensive rating than LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Make of that what you will, but that's where things stand. So, if we're going to get into all the stuff about the Lake Show and what's going to happen and what will happen, Shams had we need to come up with a bomb. It's not a Woj bomb, Shams bomb, or whatever the case may be. The second night in a row after a team gets eliminated, Shams is right there with all the tea, alleged tea, of how bad that team was. So he had Phoenix right after they got swept up out of there. Bombshell about KD not happy with his role, not happy with the offense and the coaching staff, et cetera, et cetera. Now he had it as soon as the Lake Show got eliminated, Shams with the drop about how inept Darvin Ham was and how mistrusted or not trusted he was by his own players. So I'll do a little bit of reading for those on the audio side who can't see this because we are up on YouTube. But during the fourth quarter in which James, as in LeBron, scored or assisted on 11 of the Lakers' 13 field goals, 7 weeks after the job security of second-year coach Darvin Ham had become a major storyline of their season, the irony of the Clippers ending wasn't lost on several players. They had, in their minds, won the game on their own. It had been 1 step forward, 2 steps back for the Lakers over the 2+ months since their in-season tournament championship. But this, as some players saw it, was a sign of the locker room coming together in an attempt to salvage a challenging situation with the head coach with whom they often didn't connect. Their self-empowerment, it seemed, was born out of the perceived absence of effective direction from the coaching staff. Yeah, Darvin Ham, you dumb, bruh. That last paragraph is more damning. Their self-empowerment, it seemed, was born out of the perceived absence of effective direction from the coaching staff. Bruh, Darvin Ham, welcome to the David Black graveyard. You are in the David Black graveyard where you are now going to become another coach that LeBron has thrown all the way under the bus. Remember, he tried to do this with Spo. Remember, he tried to get this off with Ty Lue, and they were able to survive. But the David Blacks of the world, and now I'm going to go ahead and just jump up and say it. Oh, Frank Vogel's of the world, championship be damned. And now we're going to be able to add Darvin Ham to the graveyard of coaches that have gotten in LeBron's way and they were not able to connect. Because that self-empowerment, who do you feel was self-empowered on this roster? There's only 2 dudes who could feel like they're self-empowered on this roster, and that's AD and LeBron James. And more so LeBron than even AD, because AD clearly still defers to LeBron. So when we're talking about their self-empowerment, that's word usage of trying to say there as in the Lakers, but it's really just LeBron. The perceived absence of effective direction from the coaching staff. Darvin Ham, good luck finding another job, sir. Because you up out of there. You up out of there. And like I mentioned earlier, there was, YouTubers going crazy with the breakdowns of how bad some of this Lakers stuff is. And it is bad. This is a 9-minute video damn near showing of all the times. Now, this person tried to blame it on coaching. And while, yes, you can have a bad game plan, right? But then if the players are empowered, right? And I'll have this playing just here in the background. I won't play the audio because I don't want no smoke, but we'll let this run. So for those on YouTube, just watch some of the just the mistakes that are being made here. There's some telestrator stuff. It's pretty good content. But if we're going to say this is Darvin Ham's fault, but yet we have 9-minute videos also showing of how the Lakers are making bad IQ decisions, that the Lakers are loafing, then which is it? Is it Darvin Ham not instructing them to ice, not instructing them to hedge, not instructing them to rotate? Or is it players consistently making mistakes in regards to just fundamental basketball of not knowing when to rotate, not knowing whom to box out, not knowing when to ice, not knowing when to hedge. As hoopers, we have all been out there and at one point have said, hey man, I don't care what coach called, we're going to do it like this. So the fact that we have professional basketball players who by no fewer than 2 months, according to Shams, no more than 2 months after the in-season tournament felt empowered enough that they could do whatever they want and do their own thing, yet when they're getting Swiss cheesed up by Denver and they're loafing and they're making mistakes, oh, now it's back to being Darvin Ham's fault again. So make up your mind, Lakers. Is it Darvin Ham's fault? Hard stop in totality? And he's going to be one with his head chopped off in a matter of days? Or is it the fact that you have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Spencer Dinwiddie, D'Angelo Russell, Taurean Prince, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, et cetera, and they continuously, because they were empowered, kept making their own mistakes. Some of these mistakes are not just icing and hedging and knowing when to do such. Some of these mistakes were, I just not going to rotate. We're not going to trap. We're not going to double on the catch. That's not coaching, that's effort. So while we can go viral with videos calling out mistakes and blaming it on Darvin Ham, Shams drops an article that essentially says this team felt like they were coaching themselves not that long after the in-season tournament. So you can't have it both ways if you're the Lakers. But the internet will internet. Media narratives will be casted, and the fans will eat up whatever narrative makes them feel better. Let's move on to the second game from last night, or another pivotal game. There was a third game. OKC took care of the Pelicans. I'm not going to go too crazy into that. It was as expected, especially after Zion went down. If Zion plays this series or plays the entire series, maybe the Thunder gets pushed a little bit, but didn't happen, so they made quick work of whatever was left of the Pels. And the Pels have a lot of decisions to make. B.I. Young Reaper potentially can walk. That was potentially his last game as a Pel. We'll see how that transpires. But the Heat go down 3-1 at the crib to the Boston Celtics. The Celtics came out and they were a force. And it was early and often when it came to making sure that this game did not get close and that this game was not going to be put in the whole Heat culture narrative. Derek White, 38 points. How do you, as the Miami Heat, who are trying to get a dub, who are trying to even this thing up at 2, allow Derek White, not to say Derek White's not nice, but you allow Derek White 15 of 26, 8 threes, 38 points. Jaylen Brown does Jaylen Brown things. Light work, 17 and 5. 17 and 5 with someone making $300 million is kind of crazy. But then you got Tatum, 20 and 11, 5 dimes, hit a couple threes. Like, the rest of the team just kind of fed off of Derek White. Porzingis goes out with an apparent calf injury. You're not sure how long he's going to be out, if at all. Unlikely to play in Game 5. We'll track that as things go along here. But looking at that Miami Heat thing, man, we should have known it was a wrap as soon as this popped off. And this was, what was this, third quarter? Third quarter. Look who's sitting next to, this is Al Horford's pops, okay? Former Hooper himself, Tito Horford, okay? Tito Horford is sitting down. Look who he's sitting right next to. If you're watching this on YouTube, you see who it is. If you are on the audio side, I'm going to just say this. This man wants his corners back, and it's not Avon. Marlo was at the game last night. Marlo Stansfield was at the game last night. And that should have told you what type of time this game was about to be on. You think Derek White had a little extra motivation? Marlo Stansfield in the stands and looking all like Marlo. Like, this is, I know clearly it's not Marlo from The Wire, but the actor that played Marlo. But he looked like how Marlo would be at a playoff game. Tito Horford is going crazy. He's getting animated. People around him are getting animated. And their lowest of keys is Marlo Stansfield scanning the bench, not the game, the bench, trying to get that eye contact of whoever is supposed to be on the Jonte Porter, allegedly, and making sure that the message is being sent. Salute to Marlo Stansfield out there in South Beach last night, making sure the investment gets paid off, and it was. Let's go to Sunday. We're doing this pod quick. Brother got to work. So, Knicks tape went to Wells Fargo and made the Philadelphia 76ers a poverty franchise. Yes, I am saying it officially. The way that Knicks tape went down 95, whether it was Chinatown bus, Bolt bus, Amtrak, Uber, or carpooled, they pulled up the Wells Fargo in droves and they took that bitch over. And when they're putting Knick jerseys on Wilt Chamberlain's statue, I mean, Philly, y'all have to explain something, because like Knicks tape is out here and they're just putting jerseys all over Sixer luminaries and the luminous of luminaries in Wilt Chamberlain. This is a sad day for Philadelphia sports. An extremely sad moment in time for Philadelphia sports. To let Knicks tape, which their legacy is based off losing 30 plus years ago. Their only championship was 50 to 60 years ago. Championships, plural, sorry, because they're really quick to tell you about 69 and 72, 73. Their two championships were literally 50 to 60 years ago. And the majority of these people who go crazy and yell Knicks tape and pull up at these arenas and put jerseys on Wilt Chamberlain are all the people that clamor for the days of the 90s. Clamor for the days of getting beat by the Bulls. Clamor for the days of being choked by Reggie Miller. Clamor for the days of John Starks going 3 for 18 in Game 7 against Houston. That's what they're clamoring for. They want to return to that. And yet people ask me all the time, how are you a native New Yorker and you hate the Knicks? And it's not the franchise. I laugh at the franchise. Let's be clear. I laugh at the franchise. But it's the Knick fan. The Knick fan is the one that just drives my hatred for the organization because they're so clueless. They take one little morsel and they take it and run. They try to make a mountain out of a molehill. This is what this fan base does. The Mecca pep rallies. They beat the Hawks one game and they literally held pep rallies where it was going to be a ticker tape parade down Avenue of Americas. They're still saying F Trae Young. He's living rent free in that fan base's head. And because the Sixers are the Sixers, and hi, Philly, you are now empowering this fan base even more to the point that they're going to put their jerseys. I saw people walking around with Walt Frazier jerseys, Porzingis jerseys, Bernard King jerseys, Pat Ewing jerseys, Melo jerseys, Jeremy Lin jerseys. They put a Jeremy Lin jersey on the Wilt statue. The process did that. That's the process's fault. Jalen Brunson woke up like I said he would on the last pod that was all NBA. I said, you're going to get a Jalen Brunson game. And he went to Philly and took 2 of them. He went and took 2 of them. You can't make this up, man. You really can't. We'll get back into the screen. I just can't understand how Knicks tape was able to squeak this one out. 34 shots for Jalen. I know Oubre tried to throw some petty in his post-game comments about it, but 34 shots. Jalen Brunson, new Knick record, 47 points in the playoffs. I do have a trash narrative coming out, independent, of this episode that's going to get into why I think it's a trash narrative of people clamoring for how great Jalen Brunson is. I do have that in the tuck. This is a game that Knicks should have never won. When you look at the breakdown of the numbers here, Josh Hart, they kept allowing him to shoot. 0 for 7. It finally worked, Nick Nurse. It finally worked. And you still lost that game. Your strategy is just letting Josh Hart shoot whenever he wants. It worked, and you still lost because the man went out there and got 17 boards and 5 dimes. OG Anunoby 16 and 14. And yes, I know the record of the Knicks record when OG Anunoby starts, and I think they've only lost twice since acquiring him. But again, this is a guy that is mid, to be quite honest. Like, he's a mid player in terms of a piece. But because he's a Knick, because he gets to play off of, Jalen Brunson, who just went nut and just took all the shots if it wasn't for Deuce McBride, but out there just taking all the shots that mattered, and OG gets to clean up. And he cleaned up on the glass, 14 boards. So between Josh Hart and OG Anunoby, that's 31 boards, including 7 offensive rebounds. And they both had 3 blocks. Josh Hart is what, 6'4", 6'5"? He's 6'4", he's got 3 blocks. OG Anunoby is what, 6'7", he's got 3 blocks. Precious Achiuwa was getting his Charles Smith on, 0 for 5, and all 5 of those were within 2 feet of the rim. But he went out there and got 7 boards, plus 11 when he was on the floor, because Hartenstein just couldn't stop fouling in the third quarter. 5 fouls in that third quarter for Hartenstein. But when you go down to Philly, what stands out? Toby. We could kill Toby all we want, and he deserves it, but it's just a bad fit. It never was a good fit. Like, again, we talked about big 2s versus big 4s. At one point, the Sixers thought they had a big 4. Whether it was when Ben Simmons was there with Tobias Harris, whether it was when it was Harden there, when he had Harden, Maxey, Embiid, and Tobias. Tobias was supposed to be kind of in that Aaron Gordon type role of, we just need you to flash for one game. We're not going to depend on you, but we need to have you there consistently good, and then we need you to flash for a game. He's never done that. Like, never done that. But yet and still, they were expecting him to. And now you have a big 2.5. You could say a big 3, certainly contract-wise a big 3, but in terms of actuality, a big 2.5, a big 2.25. And the man's just consistently giving you mid-performances. What's been his series stats? Let's look at Tobias Harris' series stats. Okay, Tobias Harris, he's shooting 40% from the floor, 25% from 3. He's averaging 9 points, 8 rebounds. 9 points, 8 rebounds. When Kelly Oubre and Kyle Lowry are outscoring you, yet your money is way more than the 2 of those dudes combined, like, it just can't be that. It can't be that. And here's the thing, is his contract up, or are they still going to have to trade him? Because who's going to take that contract? Unless it's about to expire, who's going to take that contract? Yeah, it looks like he might be on the last. No, he's got 23. He's going to make it $40 million this year. He's finally done, it appears. Might be is that a player option? I'll have to look more into that because Basketball Reference isn't the greatest with contract info, and I'm not going to go to Spot Track right now. But Tobias Harris has been non-existent. He's been non-existent. He's been problematic as hell. In this series, yes, I could say Embiid is hobbled, and yes, Maxey looks out of control at times, but what else are they supposed to do? When there's literally no other way for them to score. And that was the problem late in that fourth quarter when the Knicks were storming back and Brunson was hitting tough shot after tough shot and McBride was hitting threes. And they just kept getting offensive board after offensive board to the tune of 15 of them. 15 offensive boards to only 9 for the team that has Joel Embiid, who again only had 10 boards. But again, I know he's hurt. He's hurt, sure. the key down the stretch was you saw every reason why Tyrese Maxey is not a point guard in this game. You saw every single example of why Tyrese Maxey cannot be considered a point guard because he's so out of control. He doesn't know how to set up an offense. He doesn't know how to make sure everyone's in their right spot. He just takes the rock and he goes. In his mind, he shoot first, pass later. Even when Embiid's in rhythm. And that's going to be the problem with the Philadelphia 76ers going forward is that, all right, cool, Maxey's going to be a max player. Great. What is he? That's why the Beard thing looked to be great because, all right, Beard could play point guard and have Maxey be that two guard. Because that's what he naturally is. He's a scoring guard. But because he's a little undersized, he gets put at the point guard position, which is why everyone goes crazy in regards to who's a point guard and who isn't. We just think, well, if you're 6'3" and under, you're a point guard no matter what you do, which is the silliest shit I've ever heard in my life. Joe Dumars won 2 chips, is in the Hall of Fame as a 6'3" shooting guard. But today the narrative is, well, if you're small and undersized and you play the 1, even if you don't do anything like a 1, you're still a point guard. Silliest shit imaginable. And I do have a standalone video also talk about that topic in depth. So stay locked in. That one will probably be a YouTube only one, but stay locked in for that. But when you're talking about Tyrese Maxey not being able to handle things down the stretch, let's go to the fourth quarter box. I'm going to go to the fourth quarter box. Let's see. Shot charts. Fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, Maxey played the entire quarter. 1 assist. He took 8 shots. He was a -4. Okay? Now let's go to the shot chart. Let's see where his shots were on the floor when he was doing all this. Let's bring the screen back up. Okay, shot chart. Go down to Philly. We want the fourth quarter, and we want Tyrese Maxey. Okay. He missed bunnies at the rim, but again, these were highly contested. Okay, so look at these shots. 8:50 remaining. He missed a lay. 30 seconds left. He missed a lay. And what was his other one? Early in the fourth quarter, extremely early, he missed a lay. But then you're talking about jumpers. He's missing jumpers. He's missing threes. Like, it's attack. It's all or nothing. This shot chart, where all your shots are in the paint or threes, this is the prototypical shot chart of where the NBA is going. This is what D'Antoni in Phoenix and in Houston, which then was co-opted by the Warriors. This is what they were aiming for. This is the prototypical shot chart. Threes and layups. Threes and layups and get to the free throw line. That's the epitome of what efficient basketball or high-level basketball is supposed to be today. So if you let the analytics tell you, this is a great box score, the results just didn't go your way. But I'm telling you, from watching the game in the eye test, that man had no intention of how to control the flow of the offense and put people in the right position, which is supposed to be his job. Somebody's going to have to play point guard. Phoenix didn't have a point guard. Now we're hearing, oh, they wanted a point guard. No shit. You have 3 ISO dominant players. You need a point guard. And again, not a Maxey type point guard, but an actual point guard. And that's where the confusion lies. Well, he plays point. He's not a point guard. He doesn't know how to do point guard things. So stop calling these people point guards when you don't see anything that they're doing resembling what a point guard actually is. Combo guard, hybrid guard, have a blast with those terms. But point guard, they are not. So, will the Knicks close this out? I'll say this, they better. Because, the 2 home games, Brunson was off. The defensive scheme that Nick Nurse and the Sixers employed worked. But I'll say this, talking about Toby was absolutely getting cooked by Brunson the whole narrative of, well, put a bigger body. Maxey can't keep up with Brunson physically. So let's put him in. Lowry isn't fast enough. So, okay, let's put a bigger body in hopes of altering his shot or whatever. I think Oubre's played the best defense, but even that's not saying much because he got cooked too. Hey, Tybalt, where he's at? Oh, yeah. Matthias is Matthias, whatever. He's not there anymore. Okay, cool beans. Ben Simmons. Oh, yeah, he's not there anymore. They need somebody who can play defense on the perimeter. It was always those guys' fault, but apparently it's not because now they're getting switched cheesed up by a 6'2", 6'3" guard. Anyway, so I'm saying all this, but the Knicks better take care of business and get this done in 5. Because you want whatever happens between the Pacers and the Bucks, you want to be ready for whatever that is. Because I'm recording this Tuesday morning. It appears as though that Giannis and Dame are doubtful to play, which is to me means they're unlikely to play in Game 5, which means the Pacers are going to have a chance to close this out in 5. If that happens, the Knicks better be ready because the Pacers have momentum and they have a real point guard in Tyrese Halliburton. They got size that can actually, isn't hobbled in Miles Turner. Like there's some hoopers on the Pacers. The Pacers were also, like the Lakers, in that in-season tournament mix. So they've been in pressurized games. Use that term loosely, but it is what it is. But I think the Knicks better get this done in 5 because I would not want to have to go to 6 games against a one-legged Joel Embiid when I know I got arrested Tyrese Halliburton waiting for me. A Tyrese Halliburton who was passed up by the Knicks, by the way. So we move on past that. Knicks tape putting Jeremy Lin jerseys on Wilt Chamberlain statue. Philly, you got to explain yourself. Anyway, so the Timberwolves take care of business. Welcome, America. Welcome, world. You're now being introduced to Ant-Man Anthony Edwards. If you've been a fan of this podcast or a listener, supporter of this podcast, you've known about Anthony Edwards for a minute, and he cooked them boys. He made sure to put Kevin Durant out of his misery. They did not waste any time. And this was a game where you want to see that Jordan effect. You want to see that killer instinct, that Mamba mentality, all that shit. You saw it from Ant-Man. Ant-Man putting up a 40-piece with 7 threes, 9 boards, 6 dimes. Not only was he the leading scorer, but was the leading assist getter and was 1 board shy of tying for the lead in boards too. He's the team. Now, this is a big 4. Now, you can alternate whether sometimes it's Jaden McDaniels in that big 4 or Rudy Gobert is in that big 4, but this is a big 4. 40-piece from Ant-Man. Damn near 30-piece, double-double from Karl Anthony Towns. Jaden Daniels does what he does, 18 points, and then you got Conley, the vet, who again, 10 and 7, but those 7 dimes, hits a couple threes. The only shots he made were threes. But the calming presence, knowing when to get dudes involved. He knows I don't need to shoot a lot. My job here is not to score. My job here is to make sure that Cat gets his 17 shots and Ant-Man gets his 23. That's what a point guard looks like for those who aren't aware. And that's what Phoenix needed. That's what low-key the Knicks need, but that's another story for another day. And that's damn sure what Philly needs. So everyone's trying to figure out what's going to happen. What's going to happen with Phoenix? And there's some stuff about the owner, clueless, mortgaging the picks. And let me stop the trash narrative of, the Suns have no picks. There is a difference between not having picks and being subjected to pick swaps. And that's what Phoenix has. They do have picks. They're just pick swaps. Okay? Don't listen to the narratives of they have no picks until 2030. No. They have picks, first and second round. Just the vast majority, damn near all of them, are pick swaps. That's different than they have no picks. But I digress. So Phoenix is going to have some things to figure out. Definitely, I can imagine a scenario where Vogel's gone if KD wants to stay there. But the Bradley Beal contract, no one's going to take that contract, or you're going to have to take something back even worse than Bradley Beal and his contract to get rid of Brad Beal. But this is about Ant-Man. This is about the relationship between him and Cat. And I remember a couple of years ago saying on this podcast that, look, at some point, they need to hand the reins over to Ant-Man. After listening to this sound, please understand that the reins have been passed over.
Let me just say, tonight he wasn't in foul trouble. Like the first 3 games, the motherfucker just kept fouling.
Love it.
Tonight, I told him, what did I tell you last game?
What I tell you last game, I'ma tell the world. I want you to tell the world directly. I want you to tell the world what I told you of how you need to get right. This is a dude that just came into the league. And he's over here. Hey, tell him what I told you. Let them see how dope I am and how I encouraged you to get right.
He said, yo, can you find a way not to foul him? I said, I'm going to try.
Look at the body language for those on YouTube. You see this body language. He's saying, no. Tell him the right way. Tell him the way I told you. And see how I was right. I was right. Like, that was just his thing of like, yo, I'm him. It's my shit. I even got to tell you what to do.
Like, if you watch the game, every time in the third quarter when we would grow a lead, it's because he's in the game. Because they don't have a
Look how intent Cat is just paying attention.
We're not going to win game 4 if you foul. I told him yesterday, we're not going to win game 4 if you keep fouling. And you see what he did in the third quarter. You see what he did in the fourth quarter. Like, he's like I always tell you, he's the best offensive player on the team. Like, if he's not in foul trouble.
Again, now here's where you got he just tore him down in front of us. Now he has to build him back up. This is the genius of Ant-Man, and this is why he is wise beyond his years. He knows how to play this game.
It's a problem for any team that got a guard is because he can stretch the floor.
I just had a 40-piece, damn near led the team in rebounds and was a lead assist getter, but I'm going to tell the world you're our best offensive player.
Or he can post, he can play off the catch, he can pass. I mean, he can do everything, so we just got to keep.
If Cat could actually do everything, Ant-Man wouldn't have to be dropping 40 pieces in elimination games. Just saying.
Keep him from getting in foul trouble, man. He's going to be great every night.
Probably because I was trying to play more defense.
I mean, just stop fucking fouling.
Yeah.
Just stop fucking fouling. And there's a sternness in the way that he said that. So again, you understand the relationship. And I know some people have I think it was Bomani said, big brother, little brother. I don't even know if it's that, to be quite honest, because the way he just said, just stop fucking fouling, that was stern. That was not big bro, little bro to me.
Trying to play more defense.
I mean, just stop fucking.
Look how he turns and snaps. Hey, just stop fucking fouling. Like, that's some Marlo shit. That's Marlo. Marlo should be running with Ant-Man over here with the T-Bulls. That's where Marlo should be, because this is big Marlo energy.
I mean, just stop fucking fouling.
Yeah. I've done it my whole career. I'm glad that.
Yeah. Ant-Man is him. I'm glad the casuals and the people that just, want to jump in and create narratives are getting a chance to finally watch Anthony Edwards play. He's been doing this for about 2.5 years now, but he finally gets the big stage and he's been putting on a show. Got KD up out of here. KD with nothing but praise in the post game. Favorite player to watch, et cetera, Team USA and all that. And I think it's just the way that he's able to speak his mind and not give a damn if it's edited or whatever the case. Like, he's just going to say whatever is on his mind and leave you to deal with it, because he's not concerned about it at all. Love that for Ant-Man. Like I said, the Pacers are in position to get the Bucks up out of here. We'll see what they do. And man, Clippers, Mavericks, to wrap this up. Paul George as the lead dog looks a lot better than Paul George as a number 2. Now, while that makes sense, and that narrative is kind of floating out there that he's better as a number 1 than he's great as a number 1, great as a number 3, but he's not that great at being a number 2. Here's where I push back. He has a point guard. When Paul George has a point guard, he plays well. When it was just him and Kawhi, who was the point guard? And when they first got James Harden and he got right, he started to play well. Even when they had to mix in Russie before the beard got there, when it was Russie, Kawhi, and PG, he was able to cook. PG, as great as he could be off the dribble, one-on-one ISO ball, he still needs someone to get the ball to him in certain spots so he can cook. He's not a guy that you could just 1-4 flat the whole game. So I think while the narrative is easy to just say Paul George is great as a 1, great as a 3, but not that great as a 2, well, that means to me, if you watch the games, he needs someone to help him orchestrate. And while Russie has a lot of the point guard traits and at times has been a point guard, there are a lot of times where he likes to get his shot, and we know how Russie shoots. He's not the most efficient shooter. Now you bring in the Beard, who also likes to get his own shot, but is way more efficient, way better of a weapon than Russie, especially at this point in their careers. So this is a good thing for PG to work off of, to where him and Beard both go for 33, and they needed every single point. And I was really surprised that they won this game because Dallas played well. Kyrie, again, I'll start here first. Another postseason where Luka Doncic is hurt. I would like someone to find me a postseason that the Mavericks are in where Luka Doncic isn't hurt. I don't think it exists because every year we come around and Luka's missing the game or Luka's hobbled, and it just seems to be a thing. Every single postseason when the Mavericks make it, Luka is hurt. Kyrie's out here dropping 40 balls. And, Luka's supposed to be that guy. And yes, he's hobbled, but again, you can find videos of him loafing on defense in this series, just not paying attention to detail in this series. And that's the gift and the curse of Luka Doncic. I mean, look at his defensive rating for Luka. 128 defensive rating. When your defensive rating is higher than your offensive rating, that's not good, kids. That's not good. Especially when your defensive rating is 128 and your offensive rating is 124. That is not good. What about for this series? How bad has Luka been defensively in this series? We'll do this and then we'll wrap up. Luka has a 114 defensive rating through 4 games. His offensive rating through 4 games, 109. Come on, man. And Kyrie, who isn't the greatest defender, but again, at least will give you effort through 4 games. A 115 defensive rating. So a worse defensive rating than Luka, but a 125 offensive rating. Who's the true number 1 on this team? You know what it is. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Rather quickish episode. Just wanted to get something out there into the ether. Always appreciate y'all pulling up. Always appreciate the feedback and the support, the clicks on social media from the clips that I put out. But really tap into these pod episodes, man. I think I have the schedule. I think every Monday/Tuesday I'll be able to give y'all something. I'm just gonna make it happen, and then I'll pop in with these, other pods where it's just quick stuff on certain topics that I want to talk about. So I think going forward, look for these Tuesday drops. I'm going to be recording on Monday or recording early Tuesday and putting it right out. So always appreciative of the support for the Sandy Podcast. I'm the Sam D. I'm out.